today is all about jazz, and I'm so excited to talk to you about some upcoming jazz festivals. But we'll have a very, very special guest who's taking time out of his busy schedule to come and talk with us today. It's international musician Alexander Zonjic. I know you know a lot about him already, but I had an opportunity to sit down with him and get just a little bit more information. So take a look.
Okay, there we go. Still works. I always like to make this point that I believe the music is jazzy. I just don't believe I'm a jazz musician.
Confused? Don't be. Alexander Zonjic did not start out playing the flute or jazz. He was a rock guy. The guitar was his instrument of choice. As a teenager in the 70s, this Windsor native with a big afro just wanted to play guitar, and he got around.
Many bands. Oh yes, the Fugitives, the Interns, Moe's Maggots, the Crescents. The list goes on. Played in bands, played in CYO, like church dances, high school dances. Loved it. Loved every aspect of it.
Until a chance encounter on the streets of Windsor changed his life.
It was Olette and Elliott Street, and a guy recognized me and came over to me and said, "Aren't you a guitar guy, right?" And I go, "Hello, oh, yeah, it's me, you know." And he said to me, and I quote, "Would you like to buy a flute?" Was it hot? No speculation here. It was definitely hot. It actually was from the high school I went to, because engraved on it was PCI, Patterson Collegiate Institute, which is so I don't know how this guy got it, this street vendor, you know, a politest thing we can call him. And I said, yeah, how much do you want? He said, $50. And I said, I've only got $9, I'll take it. And that was it. And that's how it started. I couldn't get a note out of that thing, but I fell in love, loved the way it looked in the case, and that just trying to get a sound out of it. And that's really how it started. And I became obsessed with learning how to play it.
He taught himself to play using elementary level music books until friends encouraged him to audition for classical studies at the University of Windsor.
For whatever reason, I thought I should go down there with my Rubank book and my $9 flute and audition for classical studies at the University of Windsor. And, you know, thank goodness I was that naive.
A whole new world, a new style, from rock to classical music, and a chance to mentor with the Detroit Symphony Orchestra's principal flute player.
Irv Monroe, we become friends, we start to record together, and we do all these concerts together. And there was never a concert we played together that wasn't a learning process for me.
From classical music to a love of jazz melodies, Zonjic's big break came in 1981 in Baker's Keyboard Lounge. Jazz keyboardist Bob James saw Alexander's set and made him an offer.
He says, hey, you know what? We're getting ready to do a big tour coming up in the spring. We're going to go to the West Coast. We're going to go to Japan. We're going to play the Philippines. We're going to come back. We're going to play Carnegie Hall. Would you like to join the band? Yeah. So that's, you know. And I said, you know, give me like 2 seconds to think about it.
Zonjic spent the next 2 decades recording, touring, always coming back to Detroit.
Detroit's the place. It's the greatest music city in the world, you know. That's not debatable.
An international star, Alexander Zonjic, is comfortable playing any size house. Tonight, it's the Roxy in Rochester Hills.
Come on in, guys.
Every time I have an opportunity to come and hear good jazz, I definitely show up, and I'm highly entertained.
These are called LPs.
He's just funny. He's just very down to earth, and of course he's so immensely talented, and all his band are the same way, and they just pull you in.
We've got our friends from Fox 2 TV here tonight filming, so which means that, you know, I want people at home to think, like, you know, that you're excited and that you really love us. So we'll get a little shot here because the camera's rolling. Hey folks, Fox 2 TV's here tonight. Yeah.
Nowadays, Zonjic is busy with concerts, recordings, and fundraisers, immensely grateful for the bond he has with Detroit.
I think it is unique. I think it's unique that the Windsor thing and coming over to Detroit and falling in love with Motown and this city and the whole diversity here. If we do this interview again in 10 years, I'll be 82. You know, it'll be the same conversation. You can't have all of this without finding a way to give back. You just have to figure that out. And for Detroit, it's easy for me to do.
From Rochester Hills, I'm Lori Pinson, Fox 2 News.
And now joining me live is
sweet.
the man himself, Alexander Zonjic. Happy Father's Day to you.
My pleasure.
Thank you
When my life
so,
passed
so
before
much.
my eyes.
I wish you could have seen the reaction. He was like, oh my God, oh. I
Well,
hope
that
those are all
different
good
hair.
O's. Oh,
The
yeah.
hair just,
It always looks beautiful.
that was so sweet. You did a great job on that.
Thank you. And you were so generous with your time.
And most of it was true.
Well, I think about what if you only had $5 or $7 in your pocket when the guy came up to you about buying the flute? Would that not have changed your life forever? What if he was like, never mind, I need $10?
And that's a very good question. What's interesting is if I wouldn't have run into him at all,
Yeah.
I would be like this real famous rock and roll guitar player today, and the flute ruined my rock and roll career. No, I'm only kidding. I owe that guy. I really do. That was a wonderful, life-changing experience. So I was pretty happy with that.
And I like how determined you were to play it. You were like, you know what? It just sat and looked at me the whole time, and I am determined to play it. You got the little elementary books, and you're right there on it, and this is great.
Well, it was a singular focus that had nothing to do with fame or money or anything. It really was this connection with that instrument. And not that I don't still love the guitar. I really do love the guitar and still play it, but there was something about that flute. So that was really good. I don't know, where did you find a picture of my high school and
Man,
you
I
found
got
the
ways.
Rubank book?
I got ways.
You got
I
ways.
definitely
you have
got ways.
investigative reporters.
I was the investigative reporter.
Oh, there you go. There you go.
You know what? You have a lot of stuff on your plate, a lot of concerts that you're playing, and one of these is live at Idlewild that you're going to be doing. We'll talk about that in just a moment, but you also have several other concerts that are coming up. In fact, let's just go ahead and let's talk about more so. You've got Royal Oak Live coming up, right? And who's on the
one
ticket?
of my latest ones, by the way.
Well, I know, because you're
One of my
everywhere.
latest ones. So.
But this looks impressive. Folks are outside. You're going to be there with James. Tell me who's on the lineup.
Well, first of all, let me just say how wonderful it's been working with Royal Oak and working with the Chamber. And they have this beautiful park that they created. And the park is beautiful. Centennial Commons Park is beautiful. And the idea I knew right from the very beginning, Royal Oak is so in the right location. So this is our third year.
Wow.
And it worked right out of the box, right out of the first year. And this year's lineup is, but they've all been great lineups. Royal Oak's always been that entertainment place. And with me doing festivals everywhere, that was a natural. And so Ben Sharkey will be there doing his whole, Michael Bublé, Frank Sinatra stuff.
I
He's
saw him
really
all
good
dressed
at
in the
it.
white tux.
And then Larry Lee and back in the day bringing the old school funk and when you call a band back in the day, that's what it means.
Well,
And then Paul Taylor, really famous smooth jazz saxophone player, very excited, and a group that everyone loves here that rarely play here, and that's Special Effects with Chieli Minucci. One of the great guitar players in America, and this incredible band. So there's the Saturday. That's a big day. And then Sunday, we kick off with some Latin music with Tumbao Bravo. We've got Lady Sunshine, who can really sing the blues with her big band with all the horns. I'll be there with one of my more recent partners. I love James Lloyd, as you know. In fact, we just got back from performing in Portugal.
Oh, you'll have to tell us about that.
And had a wonderful time. And so I'll be there with James and my great band, which lately has been so much fun with Sasha Kashperko and Mike Harrington and Jeff Kennedy. And then Kim Waters. Everyone loves Kim Waters. He's another real talent. He's coming in from Atlanta. So, and if all that wasn't enough, how cool is it? It's free.
It's
Can't
free?
ask for your money back.
Oh my God. Well, but people probably don't know, but it takes a lot to put these together. And you come into a place and just transform it. And it ends up being, like you said, the response is so incredible that it becomes like a yearly event. Tell me what it was like to try to get it off the ground in Royal Oak.
Well, we're very lucky because we've been doing so many of these for so many years that we literally are now plugging it in, and we cross promote our events. Like everybody that's coming to Idlewild is going to hear about Idlewild at Royal Oak and every other gig that I play, you know. And I got into newsletters and my own, I guess,
Your social
self-promotion
media is good too.
so many years ago before it was popular, because now everybody's doing it.
Yes.
When I first started to do this in the late 70s, you know, it was new. So all of these events seem to feed off of one another. And you got Royal Oak, you got the 28th year of Jazz on the River, you got 6 Westland Smooth Summer Nights, you got Idlewild. It's amazing how I have fallen into this cottage industry. And it's not like I have a big staff. It's just me and my assistant Michael and Phyllis. And we literally, you know, sound, stage, lights, ground transportation, hotel, PR, TV spots, radio spots, booking all the artists. We do it all. And I'm not going to say it's not a lot of work.
It is.
But I don't find it difficult. I just find it a lot of work, you know.
But you know,
and so-
Detroiters are so enamored with you. I mean, you give a lot back to the community. What is it like to, because I know even in the story that we just showed about you, it's nothing like Detroit. The music here, the people, I'm thinking maybe you got some of your band members from here. What's special about Detroit?
Yeah, that's a great question. It's been special since the beginning. If I think about growing up, it was always about, you know, Detroit. It was never about New York and LA. Not that I didn't at one point contemplate New York, but you know, just growing up in the Motown music and going to the Fox Theater to see the Motown reviews, and then going to Cobo Hall to see James Brown, and the list just goes on. So to have all those memories and then grow up and then become an artist and then make Detroit your home base, I love the people. I love the fans. I love bringing them free stuff. I love bringing them affordable stuff. You know, I don't like doing this stuff. I love doing it, and I really love what it means to those folks. I mean, and you feel it, you know, because everyone says, "How in the world have they not thrown you out of town by now?"
No way.
But seriously though, you know, like how are they going to miss you if you don't go away? You know, but for some reason. And I just look at all of these different events. The Dirty Dog was all sold out. The list just goes on.
Roxy, you just played at.
Roxy was mobbed with Jeff Lorber. I actually played a senior citizens place. I didn't know it.
Did
It was
you
called Fox
seriously?
Run the
Oh
last
my
Sunday.
goodness.
And the place was packed. And everyone said, "What's it like playing for so many seniors?" I go, "It's like my regular gig." Because my audience, as you know, Lori,
Well,
and yes, I have younger people.
I've heard that. You always say
50 to dead.
at your concert, 50 to dead. You always say, "And don't worry, I'll be done by 10 o'clock so everybody can get home." You know.
Oh, you know all my jokes.
Well,
I love
but
that
I laugh
audience.
at them each time.
I love that audience. I love how passionate they are, and so I don't know. Detroit's special. I mean, I think people pick up on that. They know it's real. It's not something that I make up, because I could have moved more than once. I mean, 80s in particular, New York, LA when I signed with Warner Brothers, and I go, nah, I'm not. If there's an airport, I have no reason, you know, to leave the city that I love. So. There's my story, Detroit.
Well, I know you told me that it started when you would come over with your family when you were young, and they would bring you over to. It was like they were kind of setting the stage for what you would eventually become, and you mean so much to us here, not just as a musician, but as a person that gives back to the community as well.
Well, you remember all of those stories, you know. Because I'm half Greek, you know, I'm Serbian, Montenegrin, and Greek.
Very nice.
Greektown was huge.
Huge.
And when I was a little kid, and you've obviously spoke to it, I didn't go to Detroit once in a while with my grandmother. We would go every day.
Whoa.
I'd come home from school. We never owned a car.
Is it something you look forward to?
Oh, I loved it. Yeah, I loved it. And we'd go over and we'd take the tunnel bus, and the bus would drop us off at the old city hall, and then we walk into Greektown, and everybody would know one another. And then we would go up to Grand Circus Park, and then we'd stop in front of every store where I had to tell my grandmother, how much does that cost? And I would have my hands, because I can only count to 10 in Greek.
Wow.
And so my memories of Detroit as a child were pretty special. And then, of course, Hudson's, and the 12th floor, and Christmas, and everybody knows. One of my first gigs, my grandmother bought me a kazoo at Hudson's, a little kazoo. And on our way back to Windsor, and it was the holidays, and the buses would be packed, and hundreds of people would go back and forth back then. You know, I won't tell you when it was. Well, late 50s.
That's okay.
If you can imagine. And so I remember while we were waiting for the bus, playing Christmas songs on the kazoo and going home with more quarters in my pocket. And I went, I like this
You're like,
music
I'm
business.
digging this. I'm digging this. Well, listen, we're going to take a quick break. And when we come back on the other side of the break, we're going to talk more so about Idlewild and what that could mean for people. So just stay with me and we'll be right back. Welcome back to our little corner of the stream. Of course, you can't help but Miss Alexander Zonjic is here joining me.
So all those ideas that people go, do you ever not have the flute with you? And I every once in a while I just whip it out, you know, and so.
Well, we're always glad to hear that flute.
You
Beautiful
got to admit, it's kind of
sound.
cool that it's so light.
And you know what? I mean, now that's a far cry from that $9 flute you bought. Just because it's gold, does it have a different sound to it?
Well, you know, she has her own name.
Oh,
you know.
what's her name? I didn't know that.
Oh, Goldie.
Oh, Goldie. Oh, of course.
This is Goldie, and she's solid 18 karat gold.
Beautiful.
And there's another reason I call her Goldie,
Okay.
because I'm not going to do that into
Oh,
a flute
boy.
named Bill.
Oh,
It's just not going to happen. This is a very special relationship. It won't be him. So anyway.
well, you know what? There's several people watching us. I want to give them shout outs. They said, there's a Bias Bonita said, do you know that name? Said, hey, Alex, it's been a long time. Don't know what that is. There is a Linda Braun who said she remembers seeing you at the Phoenix Center.
Wow, yes, I remember.
Okay, all
I know
right.
when they built the Phoenix Center. Yeah.
You remember when they built. And there is a Darlene LZ Tompkins. Thanks so much, guys, for following us along here. She says that Alexander is one of her favorite artists.
Oh,
So
sweet.
see, lots of people watching.
Sweet. Thank you, darling. The check's in the mail.
Absolutely. Now, we were talking about Idlewild. You're going to be playing at Idlewild. You're going to try to bring them kind of back on the map. For those of you that don't know about Idlewild, no worries. Just take a look.
Taking a trip down memory lane.
Oh, look at that. Weren't they handsome?
To a once popular northern Michigan destination, Idlewild. Also known as Black Eden, Idlewild was a cultural and entertainment outlet for African Americans. Before the Civil Rights Act of 1964, Idlewild was one of the only resorts open to minorities.
It was a place where, again, you could just genuinely and unapologetically be black and strive for whatever that might mean without worrying about somebody telling you where your limits were.
Blair's family started coming here in the 1920s and put their roots down.
A safe space, physically, culturally, that was extremely important. Emotionally, that was extremely important for people.
Summers in Idlewild meant swimming, boating, fishing. Nights at the Paradise or Flamingo Club brought big-name acts like Sarah Vaughan or Jackie Wilson. Everyone who was anyone in the black community from 1912 to the 1960s wanted to be here. My 20-year-old mom walked this bridge on her honeymoon. The cottages behind her, still intact. And still occasionally in use. Idlewild has sat untouched and pristine since the 1960s, when discrimination was outlawed and other resorts opened up to minorities. The clubs that once hosted world-renowned entertainment closed. A small group of residents maintain their community, keeping the land and deeds within their families, preserving the only motel in town, getting ready to reintroduce Idlewild to the world.
I see that we do have the ability for kind of an Idlewild 2.0 to provide for the next 50 or 75 years what it had provided to the previous generations before that. To not just be a place that people could appreciate what used to be, but a place where people can discover what could be.
To get the word out, Idlewild leaders will turn this vacant lot into a concert venue, complete with tours and interactive displays that showcase this unique community.
I had never been to Idlewild before, and I came up here about 22 years ago and fell in love with the place. I tell you, there's no place like Idlewild. The peace, the quiet, the tranquility, just being in the woods and being close to God and nature.
that this has been an educational experience. This festival stuff is not for the faint of heart, but partnering with Alexander Zonjic, you couldn't have had a better collaboration. You can't have revolution without culture.
No, what there is here that is not at a lot of other events is history. I mean, how could a cultural event at Idlewild not be a good idea? I mean, come on, you got to be kidding.
There are already plans to make this jazz festival an annual event in Idlewild as residents reach out to teach, recruit, and preserve their rich history. From Idlewild, Michigan, I'm Lori Pinson, Fox 2 News.
So,
Wow, that's so cool.
Yes.
That's so cool. That really captures the magic, you know.
But what made you decide that you wanted to partner and get the word out about Idlewild? You said there's so much history there.
Well, it's exactly that. I you know, it's funny. I do so many events in so many different places, and Idlewild's always surfaced. Every once in a while, I'd get a call, and then I really got curious and started really getting into the history of it all. And I don't know how, as an artist, you could not be infatuated with that amazing story and what it meant to Sarah Vaughan's and Cab Calloway's and all these great artists, and how they were treated there, and the fact that people could buy property there. Everything about that to me was magical. So I always had it in the back of my mind that sooner or later, and I even told my assistant Michael at my office, sooner or later someone's going to call, or we're going to do something in Idlewild. And I will give credit to Wayne County Executive Warren Evans, because during Jazz on the River a few years ago, he said, "How's it going? How are all your festivals doing?" And I said, "They're all going great." I goes, "But you know where I'd really like to do an event?" It was just out of nowhere. And when I mentioned Idlewild, he lit up, and he said, "Next week I'm going to put you on a conference call with my brother Blair." And that's how it started. And the next thing is I drove up, I'm all in when I do this stuff. I drove up to meet Blair and Susan, and they took me on a tour, and it was so pristine. There was nothing commercial about it. As you know, it's a forest. And there it was. That's how it grew. And the first year we had Mesa, and we had Martha Reeves, and I was there, and it was very successful. And this year they're all in.
Well, look, we can see who's going to be there. You said the Ohio Players, Will Downing. You've got a huge lineup of folks
Big
that are
lineup.
coming in. Is it difficult to get artists to come in and play in a venue like that?
Well, I'm very lucky. In fact, there's two of them in there that are so cool. If you take Will Downing and you take Ohio Players, who've been friends for years, I just call them. Like, literally, I'm not suggesting anyone else tries this, but they're like friends. And so I got a feeling that I'm not the only one. I think artists all over the country know Idlewild. They know that it was in the Green Book. They know that it was special. And I think they're as intrigued as I am with wanting to go there and just take it in, play in that place. So this is going to be special this year.
So it goes from a one-day event last year to now a two-day event.
Yeah.
Was it difficult to put it together? Because I know, again, you're the person behind there helping to put everything together. It was a vacant lot. And then
Right.
you go up there and it's a concert
yeah,
ground.
that's exactly what it was. In fact, when we looked at sites, I think this is the site. I'll tell you what's made it really easy. They have a wonderful infrastructure. They have the Lake County Merrymakers. They have all these wonderful folks, Blair and Susan, Nicolina and Alyssa, and I know I'm leaving people out, but I mentioned to you earlier that most events that I do, I'm the infrastructure. Whereas up there, they really have it together. And so it doesn't surprise me that it's growing so quickly. And people from Chicago are calling, and Indianapolis and Grand Rapids. So I see that becoming really significant over the years. And I see Idlewild, it's not going to go back to what it was, but what's going to happen is, can you open the Flamingo again? At least make it a museum, and then all the great, the Black Eden, all those great stories, Idlewild, where the men are idle and the women are wild. I mean, all these stories.
I know.
I think there's a movie there.
Well, we have a little bit of time left. I want to get in some of the other things that you're planning on doing this summer. You've got Jazz on the River, right?
Yeah, Jazz on the River. I have to say, I really love that event. 28 years I've been doing it. And that's Elizabeth Park in Trenton. It's the first weekend in August. Thank goodness Wayne County, and all the thanks go to those folks. This is free. And you've been there, so
it's wonderful. A wonderful setting, right on the water.
Right on the water. You got people camping. It's a happening. It's more than just the music. It's bigger than all of us. And Gerald Albright's going to be there. Spyro Gyra is celebrating their 50th anniversary. They're going to be there. James Lloyd's coming in for us to play again. Alex Bugnon is coming in. Tim Bowman will be there.
You got an all-star lineup, of course, including you.
Great lineup, and I love that setting. And Jazz on the River really means so much to the people that go to it. Because 28 years, I got people who come up to me with a grown person next to them and saying, she was 2 when we first came here.
And that's got to make you feel good, because your music is timeless. People come, and it doesn't matter how many times I see you in concert, I'm going to get up and dance.
Wow. You know what it really is all about, those people. Every once in a while I have to grab somebody, whether it's from Wayne County River, and stop staring at the stage. Come over here with me and look out there. There's why we're here. And you see all these happy people, and I don't know what they got in those coolers, but they get happier as the day goes by. So Jazz on the River is coming up. Westland Smooth Summer Nights has expanded to 6 now. We're going to do a Motown one with Ladies doing Supremes and Martha Reeves music. We've got Spider Turner doing his old school R&B. We've got Thornetta Davis singing some blues. And by the way, Thornetta's with me at Idlewild too, by the way.
Great. So listen, as we progress through the rest of the summer and the year, we can always find out where you're going to be at Zonjic.com or
Zonjic.com. Zonjic.com. And if you call the number, of course, everybody gets so surprised. I answer. I answer. So,
I'm not at all surprised about that.
Congratulations on your new
Thank you so much.
streaming show.
Thank you. I'm honored that you
actually made me look good.
Well, can only look good.
Oh, yeah.
But thank you so much for coming
Pleasure.
in and spending time with our viewers.